Hand grazing your horse can be a fun and relaxing way to spend time with them, but a lot of people don't do it because they don't want their horse dragging them to grass. Never hand grazing your horse is an easy way to stop them from pulling on you to get to that delicious grass, but if you want to be able to hand graze your horse and have them be with you when you are doing other things, here is a way to teach that. We're going to start with establishing a cue. The cue that I use is to touch my hand to their nose and then offer my hand down towards the grass. I like this cue because it means that when I go to graze the horse, they're going to be looking for my hand instead of trying to drag me down to the grass. As I'm establishing the cue, my goal is to give the cue before the horse goes down to the grass so that they aren't practicing dragging me to the grass. If, like in this video, I miss my timing and the horse tries to go down before I give the cue, I will ask them to bring their head back up before I ask them to put their head down. Ideally, you don't miss your timing though. Sometimes you get a horse who's convinced that you have a treat for them, and so they won't go down and eat the grass. When that happens, I just keep refreshing the cue until they figure out that I'm just asking them to eat the grass. The next step is teaching them to bring their head up. My cue for bringing the head up is to put a slight upward pressure on the lead rope. When the horse responds to this, if I'm using treats, then I am going to mark as soon as they start to lift their head and give them their food reward. If I am choosing not to use treats, then I will offer my hand and immediately ask the horse to go back down to the grass. The goal in the beginning is that we always want to offer them the opportunity to eat before they choose to take it on their own. When you get your horse to a point, like in this sequence, where it's easy for you to get your horse's head up multiple times in a row, then it is time for you to move on to the next step. The next step is going to be asking your horse to hold its head up for longer and longer periods of time. We will start this by picking the horse's head up and counting to 1 before we mark and reward, or just offer our hand and ask the horse to put their head back down. Once the horse is fairly consistent about holding their head up for a count of 1, then we will increase that time to a count of 2 before we mark and reward or ask the horse to put their head back down. To make sure your horse doesn't anticipate the seconds they need to keep their head up, try to increase the time as quickly as you can while making sure they are successful. Once your horse is consistently waiting for the graze cue, try doing something with them, then standing and waiting for a count of 1 before cueing for grazing. If that is easy, you can start slowly increasing the time between stopping and cueing for grazing. Sometimes when you're using food rewards, you may run into an issue where the horse is more interested in the food reward than they are in the grass. If this happens, you can refresh the cue multiple times, wait and see if the horse is going to eat on its own, or you can move on and give your horse a chance to earn food rewards doing another activity. What do we do when our horse doesn't want to lift their head from the grass? Often in the beginning, it can be difficult to get the horse to bring their head up from grazing. I can try to make this easier by choosing to try and lift their head when they're in a chewing phase and they're not actively biting off grass. But even then, until the horse understands what the head up cue means, they will often be reluctant to bring their head up from grazing. The key to successfully teaching the head up cue is that when I put pressure on the lead rope and they don't respond, I keep the pressure relatively the same as I walk over the grass that they are trying to eat to get them to bring their head up. To ensure that they will do this again in the future, I give them a food reward or offer them back down to the grass as quickly as possible so that the interruption to their grazing is minimal. In some cases, you may need to be persistent in walking over the grass, as the horse may try to move away from you, but they will eventually pick up their head if you stick with it. How do we fix pulling while grazing? Another common problem that we can run into is the horse pulling on us while they're grazing. I fix this by moving the horse's hindquarters away from me to bring their head into me. Then I offer the horse the opportunity to graze again. It is important when I'm teaching this that I stand in one place and do not wander with the horse so that they learn to find the end of the lead rope. Once they understand that, I should be able to follow them around more. Regardless of the method that you're using, I do not give food rewards for the horse pulling on me. But once they are no longer pulling on me, I immediately offer them back down to the grass. You get to decide how much pressure you feel is pulling on you, but once they reach that amount of pressure, you want to use the pressure of your body or lead rope to get them to move their hind end over. Once you have practiced this and explained your expectations, your horse should be able to stand just like Ruby until they are given permission to eat. Ruby is a 4-year-old saddlebred owned by one of my students who graciously allowed me to use her for this video. I chose Ruby because her owner is a self-described beginner who is new to training horses. Although we have done many lessons on this, her owner has done all of the work on Ruby's manners herself. I did not want to use one of my own horses for this demonstration because I think it is important that everyone watching this video knows, even if you need some outside help, you are capable of teaching your own horse to behave in a way that suits you. As you can see, Ruby's owner did a fantastic job of teaching her to wait until she is given permission to eat, pick her head up, do some basic leading exercises while surrounded by grass without trying to grab for the grass or drag me anywhere, and wait patiently until she's given permission to eat again. Remember, your horse only knows what you want if you tell them. I hope this helps you feel like you are capable of teaching them how you want them to behave. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.